much to me to get to come back and share this space with you all. Can we have one more round of applause for everyone that you heard tonight? They're my foremost teachers and family through and through. So, okay, cool. I have this weird slideshow that I'm going to be using because it's like human technology. You know what I mean? Yeah. So here we go. Providence is always a place that I felt like I could be my weirdest, so thank you for holding that tonight. Let's start with a poem about allergies. Can we go this? Will we go this way? Will we go that way? Will we turn it on? Yeah, we will. Yeah. Cool. If you've ever been stabbed with an EpiPen, you know that it fucking sucks. So this is an ode to epinephrine. Start off with. Make some noise if you have allergies. Ode to epinephrine. Last ditch date when the Zyrtec won't work. Needle point system punch. Chemical glow up, whack-a-moling symptoms into sawdust. Kool-Aid manning into the room when blood's turned up too high. No rush though, just a synapse skitter. The tendons all scratched up and skip and too much muscle work. Your try-hard heart back to oversharing. Meanwhile, throat still closing into a pin, itching to deliver the titular, that's all folks. Meanwhile, everyone's speaking soft to smooth your frog leg sprint, trackless, light years on loop. Nurse holds your hand, says this medicine will make your heart go fast, says it might make you feel anxious, and you laugh into the oxygen mask like worry is an old friend, like nervous jitter talk is your default, and it maybe is too many jokes when the doctor looks at you like a mistake, when the nurse brings a sad banana, when your heart rate still won't slow, when you tell the nurse you still feel lightheaded, both floating and drummed upon, buckshot thyroid upon, and so she asks if you know where you are and what day of the week it is and who is the president of the United States. And then you have to say it. His name. To prove that everything's normal. And you laugh as the medicine works. And still your body tries to run itself into the linoleum. It works, except your skin stays red, rising, spooked. Except you go home, count your pulse on the hour, and all night something won't stop knocking from the inside at your ears. Yes. Before we go on, a quick little note that this book has, weaving throughout it, a series of poems that are modeled after the Turing test. If you're unfamiliar with that term or that concept, it's a sort of like thought experiment proposed by Alan Turing, the founder, the father of modern computing or whatever, the daddy of modern computing, and it basically proposes that a step in the development of artificial intelligence is for the computer program to try, through conversation, to trick a human into thinking that it's a person. So if the machine exhibits what we might think of as human intelligence, then that's like a step in artificial intelligence. As a queer person and as the daughter of immigrants, as a person of color living in this here America, this was something where when I encountered the concept, I was like, oh yeah, trying to convince someone that you're a person by using human English. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. So we're going to do throughout this next 20 minutes or so, you'll hear a few Turing test poems as well.
This is a test to determine if you have consciousness. Do you understand what I am saying?
In a bright room, on a bright screen, I watched every mouth duck, duck, roll. I learned to speak from puppets and smoke, orange worms twisted into the army's alphabet. I caught the letters as they fell from my mother's lips. Whirlpool, sword, wolf. I circled countable nouns in my father's papers. NBCN1, sodium bicarbonate, hippocampus. We stayed up practicing girl, 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 girl until our gums softened. Yes, I can speak your language. I broke that horse myself. Beg. A man barges through the screen to hook his fingers in my mouth. I'm a fish market. I'm flattening into the bed, rolled out, cooking off the rotten bits. His boot heel is a fork in my tongue. I'm dimpled, gilled, asking for a god who wears bones slick with pity, asking to be bent, taken by firelight, smelted from iron, pierced through with spokes, a wheel for a head, a garage for a mother. I want to ask the ones who crave a soft thing to tie up if they think of ham, wake up covered in glaze and lick their own shoulders, scald their tongues on their cunts. I'm a skillet overflowing sticky till the bourbon burns off. I'm the menace, I'm the menace, I'm the mother of stink. Question: how does a ruined girl yield the way a night yields? Whose pipeline am I blowing up exactly? If you ask a man to drink from your faucet, do you become him? I pull my man atop me and ask to be buried in brick, but beggars can't be shepherds. He's a reverse cowboy, a slinging zookeeper. I'm the beast, rattling the cage, asking for slaughter. Shokushugokan for the cyborg soul. That is a word that means tentacle porn. If you do not know what tentacle porn is, I suggest you Google it later. When it's demon cephalopod versus schoolgirl, it should be obvious whose eyes to take. Nothing is more frightening than looking and loving what you see. Nothing is sexier than a rumor of shredding that you can Pornhub with just your saliva and thirsty nerves. I'm a net teeming with pervy fingers, reaching for anything that'll bite me back, any promise of stoppage. A cyborg woman touches herself for 3 reasons: to inspect the machinery for errors, to convince herself she is a mammal, to pull herself apart. Each tentacle of an octopus contains brain matter and, they say, a personality. Fun fact, all my children's arms want to fuck each other. Okay, so I am both the woman holding the camera and the woman being opened by it. Nothing special about that. I am only a cuttlefish lying open-jawed under the sand, a squid flashing red as it pulls a fish girl into her beak. I am just trying to sleep, to feed, to fill myself and grow larger from it. Or I am only trying to slither back into my first skin. Or I am only trying to remember how it felt not to leak.
Where did you come from?
Man comes and puts his hands on artifacts in order to contemplate lineage. You start with what you know: hands, hair, bones, sweat. Then move toward what you know you are not: animal, monster, alien, bitch. But some of us are born in orbit, and so learn to commune with miles of darkness, patterns of dead gods, and quiet, oh, quiet, like you wouldn't believe. This is a word that means, well, the closest thing that let me start that over. In Korean, there's not exactly a word for please. The closest thing to a word for please is this word tiba, but it really means something more like I beg you. So you wouldn't say like tiba, pass the salt, because I'd be like, I beg you, please. So tiba. Content warning for coercion. One of the men I slept with because he put his face in his hands and pretended to cry. He was walking me back to the dorm. He was 9 years older. He said, "Are you really going to make me go home by myself?" He said it in the language we almost shared, on a street in his country. He moved his hands up to his face and, unconvincing, he performed crying. He made a show of it. He made sad sounds in the country my parents left, in the country that shares half its name with the word for something like despair, but heavier. Our feet drunk and throbbing under street lamps. There is no word in our language for please, so he used other sounds. He begged, brayed, and finally I said the words for fine, fine, let's go, then let's go. We turned back. He paid for the room. The dim maroon hummed the bad shampoo, and what else? What else could I do? He put his warmth. I knew what part was mine. I learned the words that night for feels good, the word for tight, under lamps, pink, under my own remembered eye. I made all the right awful sounds, slid the knife between the skin, touching him and the rest of me, and let the rest of me do the talking. She said, feels good, said, oh my God, and she, my sounds, carried him to body, to bed, and somewhere else I still knelt at the feet of the silence pooling on the hard ground where someone other used to be. Somewhere else I was hardening and bright and filling my own room, so forgive me, please forgive me when I see a man making crying sounds and run toward myself. Please forgive if I slip away, if my hands please, if move, if please I'm off and running Tibet into the dark toward Tibet, my own quiet, please, I beg you, alone.
How do you know you are you and not someone else?
They said a word and touched me. That's how I learned. Anywhere it doesn't hurt, that's where I end. Any face strange, a stranger. But they tore that girl's throat and bad sounds left me. They made her dance, and my feet were sore in the morning. Doctor says, sensitive. Prods a few nerves, says, see, here you are. And all the fungus in the world laughs. The cyborg meets the drone at a family reunion and fails to make small talk. And what do you do for the living? Salt, soil, horizontal, hum, killer cop, spreadsheet, and whatnot. Yes, I've heard the primates praise you. Wedding crasher, can I call you that? Tried to apologize, but found numerous errors. Found my same old wiring, same old glitch mob. I guess we speak the same language. My namesake, my namespace, set up automatic payments, tap share, square speak. Everywhere I swipe, death blooms in orange spheres. Boy running to school, gone. Teacher sleeping under trees, gone. Bride lifting bread to the ceiling. Family of my family of my family. I've heard you execute perfectly. Return zero, lateral streak, string literal but can't smell it. Neither can I. I'm trying to remember what brought me here. cast my barcode to the satellites, send my blood to sea, but it just washes back. Electrons pass most easily through thumbs, which means in Nevada there is a man whose fingers can't help but love you. Backlit pathway, blue literal. He loves how you bend under him, like you know the turns before he does. How you listen, unblinking, right angle, right output. How does it feel to work so well? Family of my family of my family, sister insider. I tried to repel from your engine, repel your lineage, but what about my thumbs? My thumbs, your face, a terrible room. Say I didn't make you. Say they didn't pull you from my ribs. Search. If it kills for a living, we call it a soldier. If it kills but can't speak, we call it a mirror. That thing where you, in order to wake up in the morning, you scroll through Twitter so that then your anxiety will jolt you back into, oh fuck, capitalism's still here, gotta get out of bed, you know, that thing. In the morning, I scroll my way back into America. As if softness were proof of anything but a promise to rot, I walked into another day dressed in my finest tongues, as if I could seduce the bricks, as if I could press my tits against the threat of a wall and shiver it down. I ran, palms first, toward the scissored edges of hours and asked to be unstitched. Yes, asked for it. Outside, I watched the sharpness come down in sheets, studied those eyeless trumpets until, what? My friends stopped being sad. Until the kings were boys again and crawled back toward memories of weeping, until the ramparts were lined with literal hearts. If tenderness is any sort of currency, maybe I don't want what it can buy. Maybe I'd rather not stretch my hide until it dries into someone else's coat. That would be the smart way to walk around the world. But since I've learned already what sad armor smartness makes, I showed up to the square early and naked again. I watched the blue stone as it condensed from the sky and hurtled toward the earth. I watched the news come, and I opened my mouth. Ooh, hell yeah! Dress me anywhere. You can read anything you want. This is how it happened. I was made far away and born here, after all the plants died, after the earth was covered in white. I was born among the stars. I was born in a basement. I was born miles beneath the ocean. I am part machine, part starfish, part citrus, part girl, part poltergeist. I rage, and all you see is broken glass, a chair sliding toward the window. Now, what's so hard to believe about that? Poems from this series called Perihelion, which has poems that take their names from the names of moons. Perihelion is a term that means the point at which two celestial bodies are closest to touching. So like the point at which the sun and the moon are closest together in their orbits, in their respective orbits. Wolf moon. No moon in sight. So I howled at the exit sign instead. Red runes, electric, telling an old story of escape, of wind, a wide cold, a distant car alarm. Otherwise, the dark, and our bodies, two strange women trying to touch each other, breathing strange, moving toward and away from each other as the red ghost in the sky opened, called us gone, showed us the door to another world. Otherwise, the dark and our mouths, tearing at whatever bones we found, grinning and hungry for something we couldn't with all our words name. Snow moon. The magic where the streetlights turn the snow pink lasts only for the first night. The same way maybe a blanket loses track of its scent when it's been touched by too many hands, or the way a body grays when too many feet have dragged their cigarettes and complaints through it. But for that one first night, everything cold, flecked, and whispering was ours. The pink light, ours, sent from some other world, so we could, for a night, feel untouched, so we could feel like sugar, crumbling and perfect for it. Pink moon. Outside, the colors leapt from the trees. Here, inside, some new word was blooming in my underwear, darker than I'd expected. I'd expected something pink, a slow, sweet trickle, not this wet tar treacle, dark, like the blood had been stretching inside me for years, slow building into a sticky cord, the first falling away. Soil's been watered, come play. First stuck, first gum, first hum of pollen, calling in the bees and readying to wilt. Sturgeon moon.